So, areas when it comes to having trust issues, we a lot of times will experience. We are going to, it's not just going to avoid you. It's not just going to go away. It's not just something that you can pray off of you. As much as I believe in the beautiful power, anointed grace, and authority of prayer, absolutely. But when it comes to praying about certain things, we can't just pray off, certain people. We can't just pray them out of the circle or pray. It doesn't always work like that. Sometimes our assignment is these people. It's our assignment to develop and grow in trust. And this is why we have the opportunity and the privilege to steward these relationships, these connections, to steward what is in front of us. And so when you pray for promotion, you pray for elevation, you pray for breakthrough, for victory, for prosperity, for abundance or whatever, you don't just get the result or the harvest, you get the application opportunity. You get the chance to apply the principle. You get the chance to trust. You get to trust when it don't make sense. You get the privilege. You're assigned the privilege of trusting. You're assigned the privilege of forgiveness and letting go and releasing and ultimately trusting that his will and his plan will come through. But if I don't have a crisis in front of me, how can I believe for breakthrough? If I don't have something in front of me that is going to require me to be patient, to trust, to let go of things, to forget about, who owes me what and how much they did and, how it's unfair. If I don't have the privilege and opportunity in front of me to trust, then I'm missing the growth opportunity and the understanding opportunity of the greater purpose is I'm meant to serve an audience after I get through this. Now, God will give us a promise. And so for those that are going to go back and watch the podcast, the second video on there is actually me preaching a message at my church that is called When God Gives You a Word. But 3 points was first the promise, then the process, then the promotion. He'll give me a promise at first to hold on to trust him through, to believe in, to look forward to focus on, to strategize with, to sharpen my skills with, to serve with. He will give me a word. Like when the prophet Samuel anointed David with the horn of oil when he was just a teenager. David had to go back to the fields and be about his father's business. David was not just automatically thrown into the throne. He was not, no pun intended. He was automatically not just thrown into the king's position. He was not automatically just crowned and given the palace. He had to go back to the fields. He had to be about his father's business. He had to be hidden. And one of the beautiful things about being hidden too is that the one who he expected to be his greatest support, his greatest fan, his father, actually was the one who was ashamed of him and threw him in the fields. His father was the one who If y'all know the story where it talks about David said that in sin, my mother conceived me. In sin is when this all happened. So what was the real reason that his father hid him in the fields and all of the other brothers were able to be raised up and trained and equipped and prepared for battle, but not him? Because if you have a son who is not really legitimate or maybe something wasn't supposed to happen and you're trying to keep a secret, what do? You hide them. So he thought my father, who is, going to be my protector, provider, and all that other kind of good stuff, is going to be the one to open up doors for me, was actually the one who hid him in the fields. And then when the time came, take some food to your brothers and check up on them, see how they're doing. They're away at battle. They're tired. They're hungry. They can't leave because they got these giants showing up, threatening them. And so, go check up on them and report back to me. So when something like this happens, we are given the opportunity to trust, to be patient, to walk this thing out. I get to be put in a position to where I don't need to know the ending from the beginning. I don't have to know all the details. And when it looks like it's getting confusing, it looks like it's getting hard, it's probably because you're chosen for something that you know you are so passionate about, you know you are zealous about, you know that you see something and you know God gave you this vision, but why is it taking so long? Why does it feel like nothing makes sense? Why does it feel like everything I've ever tried is flopping, it's failing, it's falling through, that people are leaving, that I can't trust anybody? How come whenever I get into a relationship, it flops? How come whenever I try a partnership or a collaboration in business with somebody else, they end up being just as insecure, and then all they want to do is just make money, but they don't want to contribute. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to be patient. And then they feel like they got to go and start another business, and I got to start from scratch and from zero again. Why? All of this stuff comes up. Here's one of the reasons. I'll give you an example. When I was young, my passion was to be successful in business. One of my passions. Of course, one of them, ministry, God came first and all that good stuff growing up. That was just my life. But I had a big passion for business, to be successful in business, to be successful as an influencer, to travel the world, to teach, to equip, to train leaders and to raise them up and all that good stuff. I've always had a passion for raising and equipping and training people. But one of my biggest joys and passion, being people, also was my biggest frustration and challenge and obstacle, was dealing with people. If y'all know anything about pastoring, everybody would love to be a pastor if it wasn't for the people. Everybody would love to deal with people if it wasn't for the people. Everybody would love to lead people if it wasn't for having to deal with people. Okay? If I'm venting, forgive me. But I'm telling you guys, people are going to be our greatest blessing, our greatest joy, and our greatest frustration all within 30 seconds. If you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. They are your greatest joy, and then all of a sudden they do something. You clean the whole house and they're being good. Up until 30 seconds, you turn your back and then a mess, flour everywhere. They spill something just completely messes up your whole last 4 or 5 hours of cleaning or getting something together, and you're about ready to go, get out the house, and then all of a sudden you got to go in and, they need a shower, you got to clean up again, you got a whole mess, and now you're late. And then you get in the car and y'all just, inhale, exhale, and you're having the time of your life, and that frustration is gone again. Okay? So stuff's going to come up. Stuff is going to happen. When we deal with people, we have to have the understanding going into something that I don't put my trust in the person. I entrust them with a task or a responsibility or an endeavor or something, but ultimately my trust is in God in them. Now, it doesn't mean that nothing won't happen. It doesn't mean that flaws won't show. It doesn't mean that problems won't come up. It doesn't mean that stuff won't go wrong. What it means is that I trust God in them through this whole process, that He's able to turn everything around for the good, that His timing is perfect, that His knowing from the ending from the beginning is perfect, that His faithfulness and His consistency to His word and to His covenant is true. It is perfect. There's nothing I have to worry about. There's nothing I have to doubt. I can entrust a person when I trust God in the person, or I trust God in me, or I trust God's timing in this process. I trust God. And in that, I can confidently connect with people that He will bring into. Remember, Jesus chose Judas. Jesus chose Peter. Remember specifically, He chose the one who would betray Him. Because there has to be something. Judas, I know we have, thought forever, don't trust Judas at your table. They only want to take from you. And there's all of these viral reels that people will take and they will remix and they'll put their video to it. And then they just use the viral trending audio that talks about you can't trust everybody. Even Jesus had Judas at his table. But they don't talk about how Jesus specifically, intentionally, and all a part of God's plan, chose Judas to sit at his table, to love him, to honor him, to bless him, to teach him, to equip him, to train him, to serve him, to bless him. And ultimately, God put him at the table at the night of the Last Supper to reach in at the same time that he did to dip the bread, because Jesus would not have been sold and he would not have gone to the cross if somebody did not sell him out. Now, what am I saying? That you have to choose a Judas? No. What I'm saying is ultimately, regardless, we are not responsible for everybody else's actions. We're not responsible for everybody else's ways. We're not responsible for their insecurities. So their issues, insecurities, problems, lack of trustworthiness, and all that other good stuff cannot get me out of my sonship, trust, and character. You can't push me to a point where I stop believing, trusting, or staying consistent on the path and the journey that God put me on. I'm going to stay faithful, remaining true and true to this covenant, because he called me, not you. So you can't get me out of this. And ultimately, if I can remain faithful and trust and know, 1, I'm going to grow through this. 2, I'm going to be promoted through this. 3, I'm going to be developed and sharpened, and my faith and my trust is going to be so developed and sharp that not only is it going to help me through the crisis, it's going to give me such confidence and peace and certainty and wisdom that when the wealth, the abundance, the authority, and the influence shows up and I'm brought into it, I can properly steward the wealth and the abundance that he promised me he would bring me into, and I'm not going to mishandle or fumble what God gives me. And ultimately, his will is going to be fulfilled. And it's not about how much I have or obtain. It's about the privilege of being able to serve the multitudes now. And not just serve them with the high platform of wealth and influence, but to serve them now at a place where my love has been purified. That the doubt, the fear, the insecurity, the identity crisis has been filtered out of me now. I can purely love you in a way of where I don't expect anything from you. I'm not waiting for you to pay me back. You don't owe me anything. Therefore, you can't take anything from me. Guys, I'm telling you, your obstacles and your challenges that have kind of put this idea of, God, what's going on? Do I need to change? No, what God told you from the very beginning, he's faithful to complete it. Now, to bring this all home and to land this plane, stuff's going to come up, but ultimately, guys, I really truly believe, and I'm glad that Themo had brought this particular one up. Me personally, I've been there as well, but the whole idea of stuff coming up that we can't figure out and understand is a reminder, and it is something that brings us back into alignment to rest in him. If I don't get it, I get to let it go. Okay, it don't make sense. Cool. Now I know. Let it go. I let it go. I trust God. I trust his process, his timing, his plan. I trust his direction. I trust his word. I trust that he is present. How many have ever felt that God was not present, that he wasn't close, that he wasn't near you, that he wasn't showing up, that he wasn't there, that he wasn't hearing you, that he wasn't close to you, that you felt like you were just in a dark, lonely place? But as I've shared before multiple times, is that under the shadow of the Almighty, it's dark. Under the covering of his wings, where we find refuge. Psalm 91, he that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in him will I trust. Surely he will deliver me from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He will cover me with his feathers, and under his wings I will find refuge. All of that is talking about being in a covered dark place, about being in hiding. Okay? It's not supposed to be fully illuminated. It's supposed to be dark. When you are planted and you feel buried, it's dark, it's hot, it's lonely. Okay? When you feel like you're isolated, you're being insulated and filtered. It's supposed to feel this way. But what more of a better place to be in than in the place of where I ain't got no other choice but to trust. And I get to let it go. And my prayer changes and it shifts from, God, can you please, will you, how long, when, who, where, how come, and all. It shifts from all of that to, whoo, thank you, Jesus. I don't get it, but that's the beauty of it. That's the excitement of it. I'm getting excited now, guys, because this has actually been, okay, awesome, cool, thank you. This has been my journey where all the stuff that didn't make sense actually forced me to, it pushed me into a corner to where, God, I trust you. I don't get it. I don't understand. And because I don't, I let it go. And it oh my God, it taught me to realize this. And I promise you guys, I'm gonna close here with this because it's time to go. And I have a 1 o'clock meeting. But guys, I'm telling you, it pushed me to a place of where, God, I got nothing left. I don't understand. I don't get it. The one who had spent all of his life and all of his years of business and training and leadership and serving and all of that stuff of being hidden, the one who spent all of that time figuring stuff out, coming up with its answers and being a solutionist, the one who branded himself as a solutionist, has now got to the point where he feels like he knows absolutely nothing. Me. Got to the point where it's like, God, I have no idea what to do. I have no idea who I am. And it was at that sweetly broken, beautiful place of coming to the end of myself where I felt like I now finally see the beauty of trusting God. The beauty of letting go and resting in his arms, trusting and knowing that he can't forget about me. It doesn't matter how many more hours I put in, how many more businesses I put in, how many more ideas I monetize, how many more networking events I go to, how many more calls I make, how many more leads I buy, how many more anything I do. It doesn't matter how much more work I do. He can do so much more with a moment of favor than what you can do with a lifetime of labor. Thank you, Amanda, for that, because that's where I got it from. I took it from you. Second time, I took it from God. Thank you. Bless you. But I'm telling y'all, it got to the point of where, God, nothing makes sense. And I finally understood. When it got to the point of nothing makes sense, it started to make sense. When it got to the point of where, like, I have no answers, he began to reveal the answer. That it's about trusting him. And the scriptures that I grew up on for so many years of trust in the Lord with all your heart. I spoke on this Tuesday in the Bible study. If you guys have not been on the Bible study, join us. The same link every Tuesday morning, 7:30 a.m. We are on the series called Hearing from God. It's been absolutely beautiful and amazing. I love y'all. That was just a little commercial for Tuesday mornings. Please join us. But it got to the point of where the beauty of trusting God, the posture and the position and the place of rest, that place of I get to let it go. And guys, I'm telling you this, it's like you have been through the greatest challenges and it felt like war. It felt like the desert. It felt like being completely drained and emptied of every bit of strength that you've ever built up and worked up towards, to the point of where I ain't got no choice but to just let it go. I throw in the towel, I let it all go, God. And the only thing I have left is just to trust you. I don't even have the strength to pray, to ask you for wisdom here, or to ask you for strength. I don't have the strength to pray for strength. I just let it go. And I trust you, God, because that's all I got left. It drove to the point of where the only thing I realized that I had was the love that God gave me first. Here now, this is what love is. Not that we loved him, but that Christ loved us that he first loved us. And then it brought me to the point where I realized, God, I'm only here because you love me. And so the only reason I'm going to stay is because you still love me. And the only thing I can give you is that I love you with the love that you gave me first. Love is a one way. It comes from him to me, back to him. And I literally hit this point of, God, I don't get it, but I love you. I don't understand. It does not make sense, but I love you. And I trust you. When everybody else throws in the towel and they just say, you know what? I don't even believe in God anymore. You know what? There is no God. You know what? He ain't real. He ain't there. We come to a place where, God, I ain't got nothing left, but I love you. And you let go. Whoever needs to hear this, let go. It doesn't mean that you quit your business. It means that, God, I surrender this business. I surrender me. I surrender my life because you gave it to me. I surrender every dream and passion and vision and goal because you gave it to me. You gave me a vision and I'm over here trying to make it a reality. It's your vision. I surrender it to you. You gave me dreams and desires and things that I wanted for business. I surrender it to you. You gave it to me. I give it back to you. It's yours. I just get to steward it. You gave me a desire to be successful financially and have the most incredible, powerful movement, business, church, whatever it may be. I let it go. I surrender it to you. That's when the cloudiness in front of us starts to clear and we can see what has always been in front of us, and we start to hear the voice of God and the whisper again saying, now I can show you what favor looks like. Now I can show you what the goodness and mercy that follows you every single day, that his mercy and grace is new every morning, looks like. Now you start to see that at the end of the day, after doing all that I can to stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Be still and know that I am God. Guys, if y'all have hit a point where it does not make sense, let go. Everything that you're trying to build, God, I'm trying to grow this business. I surrender my business to you. This is your business. God, me personally, I don't know how to be in control of my own mind. It's just running crazy and I can't slow down and think to sleep. I can't slow down to relax and rest. It's just constantly running. I give it to you. I let it go. I surrender it. So I love y'all, fam. We can be on this here.